Hi everyone, in this video we're going to do a quick examples of the GoPro's field of views, because now with the GoPro Hero 2 you can change it so whether it's full wide angle, medium or a narrow angle when it's at 1080p, and then we'll also look at the slow motion effects that we can get. So at the moment I'm actually shooting with my Canon 550D and my GoPro. Now the Canon 550D just now has the Nikon 10.5mm fisheye lens, so it should give me roughly the same kind of wideness just now. So even though the camera is only an arm and a bit away from me, you can fully see me doing my hands all the way up there. So that's how wide angle it is. So in comparison to the Nikon 10.5mm, this is the GoPro, this is how wide it is, probably not too bad. Okay, so next thing we're going to look at is if we change the GoPro so it's at, instead of wide, it's at medium. Okay, so it's only whenever the GoPro is at 1080p can you change its field of view settings. I think there might be a firmware update coming out fairly soon where we'll be able to change the field of view in the different settings as well. But at the moment this is what you can get at 1080p. So it's almost like having a bit of a zoom, I think. So this is the medium setting. And finally, this is the narrow setting. So on the actual GoPro Hero 2, you've now got a little bit more of an easier LCD screen where it has a little video camera, and now it says N beside it. In fact, let me just check. It says video, it's got video camera with an N, and underneath it says 1080p and then 30 because it's taking 30 frames a second. Okay, so when shooting at 30 frames a second, you have the ability to slow it down if you want to take it down to 24 frames a second. So that's taking it to 80% speed. So this is what it looks like at full speed, and then this is it at its 24 frames a second speed. Ta-da! Ta-da! To get faster frames a second, we need to change the camera settings. So instead of 1080p, we're going to 720p, so a smaller amount of resolution, but we can go up to 60 frames a second. However, before we go to the 60 frames a second, what you'll notice is that the dimensions just now have changed. That's because the GoPro Hero 2 has the ability to do a 980p, I think it is. So it's still the width of a 720p, but it's got more height just now, so that's why it's given it a bit more of a square format. This can do it at 48 frames a second. And that is so that you can definitely do 50% speed. So this is full speed, and this is half speed. Okay. Now onto the 60 frames a second. This is now at 60 frames a second at 720p. Now if we bring this down to 24 frames a second, so like this, that's at 40% speed. So that's quite good slow-mo. It should be nice and smooth anyway, or at least 24p smooth. There you go, that's the difference. Okay, last but not least, the GoPro Hero 2 has the ability to do 120 frames a second. So that means we can bring it down to 20% speed. So if this is normal, then this is 20. And when you talk, it sounds really slow. When you talk, it sounds really slow. But the resolution is down at 480p. The good thing is though, it still gives you in a nice 4x3 or 3x2 or some kind of rectangular shape rather than a square shape that you would have got in previous cameras. But yeah, nice 20% speed. Hope you enjoyed.